Hey, welcome to the Loving God and Loving Life Devotional. We're into Matthew chapter 14. In chapter 14, John the Baptist is killed. Jesus feeds the 5,000 and walks on the water. And those who touch the hem of Jesus' garment are made whole. Here we pick up in verse 28. Peter called to him. Jesus is walking on the water, by the way, and Peter calls to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." Now Peter's walking on the water, and when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" Now, I've heard many messages on Peter walking, and normally what I've heard preachers say is, Peter we got to praise Peter. Nobody else has walked on water, and look what he did. And there's truth there. I get why we want to be encouraging, but that's not Jesus' response. Gang, this is another reason, a benefit of going through the Bible chapter by chapter, is you find certain things get repeated. And one thing that gets repeated a lot is literally every time Jesus faces fear in his disciples, or that sense of doubt or fear, he corrects it every time. Not one time does he say what we think would be natural as, "Oh, Peter, that was awesome, man. Nobody's ever walked on water before, and you took 15 steps. No, he doesn't say that. He says, "Why do you have little faith?" No, you've heard me say this. Everything God says is for our good. Everything. So when we hear something like this, when we see Jesus's reaction to fear being irritation and correction, that should tell us something. There's a message there. If Jesus would have said, "Peter, that was awesome because only Jedi masters, only those with superhuman faith can walk on water. And man, you did it for a little time." Well, that actually would be discouraging, because then we'd think, "Oh, well, I'll never have that kind of faith. I'll never be a Jedi master." And we just kind of excuse ourselves. Jesus's response actually is encouraging, because what he's really saying is, guys, your God, your Father is so much more active than you understand. For heaven's sake, he's holding everything together. Whether you sink or swim, fall, he's holding you up either way. He's holding your very cells together, your atoms together. He's completely dominant and in charge. Jesus wanted them to see everything as Father filtered. And fear is an obvious sign that you're interpreting whatever you're facing as something God has nothing to do with, or it's not Father filtered. Jesus wanted them to interpret everything as Father filtered. That's why his reaction every time to any sort of a fear was a correction. Saying, guys, wait a minute. If you're seeing clearly, you're seeing God as big as he is, then your response is going to be faith. Your response is going to be, "God, I can't wait to see how you bring me through this one. God, I can't wait to see what your plan is for this circumstance." And fear is just not going to be our response. Let's live in faith. Hey, gang, let's pray for one. Every day, God, send us one person today to share your love with. Remember this, loving God is the only way to end up loving your life.